Let's continue building up our little fruit bowl here. I want to change the shape because it's not very interesting right now being this spherical shape. And I can control that shape using a modifier called stretch. So let's do that. I'm at the top level of the stack now. Go into the modifier list and scroll down and look for stretch. Here it is. And now it's been added to the top of the stack. We need to play around with these parameters here to see any effect. But if I click and drag on the stretch amount, I don't see anything happen right now. It seems like it's dead. I'm going to set that back to 0. Well, it's not an issue with the stretch modifier. It's an issue with how I've constructed my stack. Remember that we made a volume selection. We selected a bunch of polygons that were inside the gizmo. Then that selection got passed up to the delete mesh modifier, and those selected polygons got deleted. And then that selection gets passed up again to the stretch. And so what I'm trying to do here is actually stretch something that's been deleted. That's why nothing happens when I change these values. Okay, so the solution to this is we need to add another selection modifier to clear out the selection made here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the delete mesh modifier and select it, and then add another selection modifier, and then just don't select anything with it. And that'll clear out any selection made lower in the stack. Go to the modifier list, and we can use mesh select, and then go back up to our stretch, and then play around with the stretch amount. And now it's working. Now, don't be fooled by this. It's a little bit confusing. These little polygon icons indicate a selection being made. However, at this level of the mesh select, we did not make a selection. We've actually cleared out the selection. We've selected nothing. But this little icon is still showing up, so that's a little bit confusing. But the effect that we want is actually occurring, so we're in good place now. So I'll give that a stretch amount of like maybe, I don't know, 0.2 or something like that. And we can play around with some of these other parameters and see what they do. We can also move the stretch gizmo around to change the shape. Go into the stretch modifier, open that up and choose gizmo. And with the move tool, we can move the stretch gizmo around and achieve different results. You can also play around with some of the options down here. For example, we can limit the effect so it'll only occur within a certain range. We would need to adjust these limits here to make that happen. But play around with that and get whatever result you want, either by moving the gizmo or by playing around with some of those parameters. Okay, so that's basically how you can apply an effect to modify an entire object, even though you've made a sub-object selection lower in the stack. You just wipe out the selection with a new selection modifier.